Why do people stand right behind other people? Have you ever looked over your shoulder and discovered that some spatially challenged individual has decided to park his entire carcass directly behind you for no apparent reason beyond a profound inability to engage with the reasonable, without the slightest concern for whether he was blocking your right of way or simply asserting his right to be in the way? And did you then spend the next several minutes wondering precisely where on your person one could have installed an antenna that attracts the socially misaligned? The problem was not you, in this particular case. In fact, the whole phenomenon may have a perfectly simple explanation. We simply do not know what it is, but we shall at least attempt to tell some of its history, because apparently that is what we do now. The year is 60,000 BC, and accurately stating the date is still an activity largely restricted to prophets, seers, and people with an unusually confident relationship with the future. John Rock, according to certain international archaeologists, is here attempting, to the best of his limited artistic abilities, to record the earliest known case of one idiot standing directly behind another. The other person was none other than himself, and the circumstances endured by the other person, who was also him, were, to put it mildly, unpleasant. For him. We now move slightly further into the past, or rather, we regress negatively a little less in the opposite direction of the present. Something of that nature. We arrive in a remote age of sand and mystery, two substances which, as history has repeatedly demonstrated, can never be removed completely. The surviving accounts describe events of absurd curiosity. Yet, should those accounts prove accurate, there remains a certain probability that the events may actually have occurred. And, in that case, the presence of someone standing directly behind somebody else may have had a dramatic influence on the outcome. Knowing what we know today, it is not difficult to imagine that throughout history, even during its most significant moments, individuals entirely deprived of spatial awareness stood behind other people, irritating or obstructing those genuinely important figures who were, unlike them, attempting to contribute something to humanity. But history is just part of the story. Actually, is the other way around, but still. Our production team assembled a multidisciplinary group of experts to get to the bottom of the matter, and, once there, to determine whether there was any practical means of climbing back out. Unfortunately, they reached no conclusion whatsoever. Curiously, the security footage from their research room disappeared, leaving us with no reliable evidence that they performed any work at all. Our legal team was consulted. They informed us that nothing could be done. Surprisingly, the security footage from their office disappeared as well. Until a conclusion is reached, or at the very least until someone or even us can get the research team to get the job done, the phenomenon will continue to puzzle scientists, scholars, and a frankly troubling number of people with nothing better to do around the world. What is known, or rather, what is suspected with tremendous confidence, is that without an immediate solution, people will continue standing behind other people, for no reason, with no concept of personal space, with no clear understanding of what they are doing there, what role they serve in the universe, or why, among every available position in existence, they selected the most inconvenient one. And, above all, without the slightest detectable trace of common sense. Life, however, goes on. Yours, his, mine. Especially, one hopes, mine.